everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my stewed chicken recipe. This goes back to my roots from Trinidad. It is one of my absolute favorites. I love stewed chicken. Stewed chicken you can have with rice, you can have with cassava, sweet potato, whatever, green bananas. I absolutely love stewed chicken, and this little one right here loves it too, because I asked her today what she wants for lunch, and what did you say?
Stew. I always pick stew.
She never would have eaten stew before. Around 3, she's actually 5. She would have never eaten stew. She used to hate it because she's like, oh, the color. But now, that's all she wants. So when you ask her, what do you want?
Curry
or stew?
I used to eat curry with rice.
Yeah, and then you don't want curry anymore. You only want stew. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to bring you guys along and show you how I make my stewed chicken. So the first thing I'm going to prep is my green seasoning mix.
Which is green onions.
Yes, it has green onions in there. Typically, I would make a batch of it and then store it in the freezer, just because it keeps the nice green color in the freezer, and I can just break off a piece or store them in ice cube trays and then pop them out and save them that way as well. But in here, I have cilantro, culantro, green onions, parsley, garlic. Typically, I would put ginger in here, but since my ginger is already in the freezer, I would just grate it into whatever I'm making that day. So I'm making it pretty simple. I don't put any hot peppers in here because of my daughter.
Because I don't eat hot peppers.
Then we're just going to close this gadget.
Close the lid.
This is the first time I'm actually using this one.
These are my fake nails.
Okay, so yep. I'm gonna quickly pulse it. That was fast.
That called, you know what that's called?
Yeah.
Mommy, it's called Fruit Ninja. Because
Yeah.
there's fruits and vegetables and veggies.
Oh my god, that literally took seconds. I love this machine, and this actually prevented me from putting water in here, and that's typically what you would have to do if you use a blender. But it is no water.
Guys.
So that is that. I'm going to use what I need and store the rest in the freezer. So I'm actually going to take it out because I'm going to put it away now, because the container itself holds a lot of the seasoning around it. So I'll just put some water in here, swish it around and use that. So I'll be back with everything else and show you guys what I use. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, freezing the green seasoning, because it just stays so much greener in the freezer. I'm gonna pop this in a little bowl and zap it in the microwave, and I'll show you guys how nice and fresh it looks. Okay. So it is, see how I just zapped it for a couple seconds, and it's thawed out, and it's still nice and bright green.
And it's warm.
If you keep it in the refrigerator, it is going to turn brown on you, so I really highly recommend, if you're making this, to keep it in the freezer. And this is good on any type of meat, fish, lamb
chops,
duck, goat. It's really delicious. Steak. Okay, so I put it in this zip top bag. I kind of like smushed it to the side, and I'm going to freeze this, so this way when I'm ready to use it, it's easy for me to just crack a piece and zap it in the microwave. It's that easy.
Okay guys, we're back.
Okay,
Yep.
So the first thing I'm going to put
Salt.
is some salt. Remember, don't put too much, because you can always add. You cannot take out, but you can add.
You
so some
cannot
salt.
waste anything.
No, some salt goes in.
Always a little bit of salt.
Some black pepper. Some fresh thyme. I just dumped the thyme in just like that because the stems, I can fish it out later. The green seasoning, the little bit that remained, that's going in. The rest goes in. And I will put a little bit of water in this and swish it around, and that's what I'm going to use while I'm cooking. So the next thing that I'm going to use in here is some ginger. And I freeze my ginger and turmeric, and it's super easy to grate it up from frozen. I don't even peel it. I keep the skin on, but I make sure and wash it and dry it really well and take all of the dirt out. Because the skin is extremely thin. It doesn't really bother me, and it grates up beautifully, as you can see,
and guys,
frozen.
And guys, younger people that are watching this, make sure you have an adult to help you with this part.
That's right.
Cause if you even like touch a single thing on that spiky part, it's dangerous. Unless a grown-up touches it. Cause when you get older, you can touch it. Because only a grown-up could do that.
Mm-hmm. So you can put as much or as little ginger as you like. Right now, we do need a lot of immune boosting foods in our life because of what is going on. So ginger is fantastic for that. So this, I just pop this back in my zip top bag. Like that, and that goes back in the freezer.
We normally do that because of the coronavirus.
So the next thing that I'm putting
Ketchup.
in is just a little bit of ketchup.
Yeah.
A little bit goes a long way.
That looks like and it looks like a salad. Just all those ingredients. A chicken salad.
And then I'm going to cut up this little tomato.
Ooh, that's cute. Some of my friends.
You don't need to be fancy cutting this up because this is going to melt.
Yep. Some of my friends eat that size, but they eat that size of apples.
Yeah.
There is such thing as small apples.
So I'm just going to give this a quick
stir.
toss.
A quick stir. How are you gonna get the chicken all warm? You're gonna cook it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so all these.
You can do this step the night before to kind of speed up your cooking process the next day. But if you have everything on hand, like the green season and stuff like that, the process goes pretty quick. So just giving this a quick toss.
And the more the merrier, the less takes more.
And you can use any parts of the chicken that you like. I just really like using the parts with the bone because the bone adds a lot of flavor. So just give that a quick toss. And we would move on to, oh, I forgot.
What?
Onions and garlic. More garlic goes in here. And onions.
So you can get that.
So let's push.
Use out. Guys, make sure you use out the old before you use new things.
That's right.
So you don't waste.
That's right. Okay, so I'm just going to use the same little grater and grate up a couple cloves of garlic. I have a little piece that was left over, and also this. So always use up your stuff.
But you wasted some. Just a little.
So I'm just going to use my hand and just cut it up.
Oh,
Again,
guys.
this does not have to be perfect because all of this is really going to melt while everything is cooking.
Guys, just make sure you really have an adult for this. 'Cause if you try by yourself, you're gonna cut yourself.
If you have onions left over, make sure and wrap it up. I just use plain old plastic wrap. That way the onion does not dry out in your refrigerator. Okay, so just going to quickly slice this in here. Give everything a quick toss again. I can safely say we can move on to the next step. Okay, so the first step is to heat up your pot, whichever pot you're gonna use. And then a little bit of coconut oil. The oil is optional, you don't have to use oil. So you're gonna let that heat up. Okay, so once the oil is nice and hot, I am going to add in some dark brown sugar, and this is just an eyeballing step. I'm using this measuring spoon so you guys can just know how much I'm putting in. But usually I just average. A tablespoon and a half of brown sugar goes in. So this step you want to make sure and keep an eye on it. Do not step away because this can go from good to bad in seconds. So just stand here and watch it and make sure that it doesn't burn. So my heat is on medium high right now. So I'm not even going to touch it with the spoon just yet either. Okay, so now you can see it's starting to melt and it's starting to spread. So again, do not step away and do not put your spoon in there because everything is going to stick to your spoon. This step can be scary for a lot of people. Some people use store-bought browning, but I like doing my own browning. This is basically what it is. It is browning. You can buy it in a bottle or you can do it from scratch. It's very easy. This is the way that I grew up making stewed chicken, so it's kind of grown on me and it's easy for me to do. So at this point, now that the sugar has melted, you do want to just stir it a little bit to prevent the sugar from burning in one spot. Make sure you have your seasoned chicken on hand as well, because if this burns, it can leave a bitter taste in your stewed chicken. So just keep an eye, stir it around. So it's going to go from that light brown color to a medium brown, and then it's going to go to a dark brown. You want it to get to that dark brown color, just not black. Okay, so this looks perfect. So now I'm going to throw in, all of my chicken goes in. And I am not going to move the chicken just yet. I'm just going to leave it so the browning can really adhere to the meat. And then I'm going to turn it and let it go for a couple minutes again. This way you really ensure that the chicken gets that nice brown, delicious color that you want. And my heat is still on medium high. Okay, so what I did in the meantime, this was doing its thing. I went ahead and put up some water in my kettle to boil so I don't add cold water to the chicken. So you see that color? That is what you want. So I'm just going to give this nice turn just to allow all of the pieces to get a chance to get that nice color. So I'm going to leave this for a couple minutes again. Okay. So you see that beautiful color? That is what you want. You just have to leave the pieces alone and don't stir it up too much. This is just, I mean, you don't have to do this, but this is just what I do. You can just stir it up from the get-go. But this way I don't disturb the meat too much and nothing kind of breaks up. Okay, so I just increased the heat to high because I want that liquid to kind of evaporate. I want to make sure and just dry down everything. So you don't want to step away too long from it because it could stick. So I'm just going to allow the liquid to evaporate, and then I'm going to add in the hot water. Okay, I completely did not realize that I thought I was recording, but I guess not. what I just did was I threw in some potatoes. This step is optional. You don't have to throw in potatoes in here. So you're gonna throw in the potato once the sauce is once the liquid has almost evaporated. You're gonna throw in the potatoes and just allow the potato to get some of the love that's going on in here. The potato is going to allow the sauce to become nice and thick as well because of the starch in the potato. So I just wanted to tell you guys, this dish is typically served with some type of beans or peas, or the spinach soup that I shared in my Instagram. It's like a soup, I would say. I eat it sometimes like a really thick soup. But I use potatoes to really add some body to the stewed chicken, so it pairs really well with the jasmine rice that I'm serving this with. You can serve it with sweet potatoes, quinoa, any grain or any type of potato, yuca. It really does pair well with almost anything. Okay, so once everything is dried up nicely, I'll give it a quick stir. And at this point, I am going to add in my hot water. So you see, all of the pieces has really gotten a chance to get that beautiful brown color. And then I am going to throw in the hot water that is in my little blender thingy, because it's going to bring up all of the yumminess that's in here. So you don't want to put too much water either, because the chicken has been cooking in its own juices for some time. So you just want to barely cover it. You don't want to completely submerge it. So I would say this looks pretty, maybe a little bit more. So a little bit more. So that should be more than enough. Okay, so you just want to make sure you bring up all of the bits. And then you're going to cover this and let this go on medium to high-ish heat, halfway covered. So I'm going to leave a little space just to allow the liquid to evaporate. Okay, so you do want to come in here and stir it once in a while. So I did raise the heat on high just so most of the water could evaporate, because the potatoes is cooked. This is probably going to take another 10 minutes or so. Okay, so this is it. The sauce is thickening up nicely. I'm just going to remove the cover, increase the heat on the highest until the sauce is to your likeness, until it thickens up to your likeness. So basically this is it. It's all done. Okay, so we're going to plate this up. I just have a little bit of jasmine rice. Typically we have like some kind of salad on the side, but I'm not really feeling myself today, and I don't feel like running to the store, especially during this time, just to get some greens. We would normally do like a cucumber tomato salad with it, or some watercress on the side, but I don't have any, so we're just going to do with what we have. And I'm just going to place a couple pieces there. Remember that little string thingy. And lunch is served. Okay guys, so I do want to thank you so much for watching this video. I am super hungry, so I go sit down and enjoy this. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do try my recipe, come back and let me know if you love it. So I hope you guys keep safe, well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.